Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira.
Good evening, and I'm Natalia Virvadana. Here are the headlines for tonight.
The government rebuffs rumours of liquidating the Sri Lanka Triposha company. Measles vaccination begins in 12 districts. 59 suspects taken into custody in connection over online financial fraud. Earth slips in several places. A request from the Election Commission to familiarise with the model election household advertisement before going for voting. An allowance to purchase educational material for poor children. A Trump murder attempt. The US Justice Department says the mastermind is reported to be the person who planned the Arugambe threats. The Drugs Regularization Authority says the false propaganda relating to pharmacies is waged with the intention of seeking political advantages. 24 persons killed and 40 injured in the bomb attack at a railway station in Pakistan.
The US Department of Justice has charged an Iranian asset, Farhad Shakeri, in a murder-for-hire plot to assassinate then-candidate Donald Trump, and was also tasked with targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka.
Now, however, Iran has categorically dismissed allegations of involvement in a plot to assassinate former and current US officials, including President-elect Donald Trump, calling the claims completely unfounded. The 51-year-old Iranian national Farhad Shakeri, an asset of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC, was tasked with targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka, US Justice Department said. The plot, which also involved the attempted murder of a US citizen of Iranian origin in New York, has led to the arrest of two men, Carlisle Rivera, 49, of Brooklyn, New York, and Jonathan Lodeholt, 36, of Staten Island, New York. Both were charged in a criminal complaint with multiple offences, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire. US prosecutors say Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps officials also asked Shakeri to help plan a mass shooting targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka, prompting US and Sri Lankan authorities to warn travellers about threats of an attack. The complaint by the FBI agent states the following facts in relation to the plot to attack Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka. Shakeri, believed to be residing in Tehran, allegedly used a network of criminal associates to carry out surveillance and assassination missions against a dissident critical of Iranian regime. One such target was a US citizen living in New York who has been vocal critic of Iranian government. Shakeri, according to investigations, promised Rivera and Lodeholt $100,000 for their role in locating and killing the victim. The charges also reveal that Shakeri was involved in additional plans, including a scheme to kill President-elect Donald Trump and other US and Israeli targets. Shakeri's instructions to his operatives, including details on surveilling victims and carrying out killings, were uncovered through law enforcement interviews and digital communications. Shakeri, who had been deported from the US in 2008 after serving prison term for robbery, faces multiple charges, including murder for hire and providing material support to a foreign terrorist organization. He remains at large while Rivera and Lodeholt are being held as they await trial, it said. Now, in more local news, the Ministry of Finance says there has not been any plan to liquidate the Sri Lanka Triposha company. The ministry says instead a program is underway to transform the Triposha company into a more vibrant and efficient institution. The government considers it as a priority to provide nutritional facilities in need of healthy food under the Children's project as outlined in the government's new policy statement titled Rich Country and a Beautiful Life. The programs are being implemented by identifying the necessary institutional and infrastructural facilities. The government policy framework also includes measures to further develop entrepreneurs and state ownership. The Ministry of Finance points out that therefore no program or action plan is being implemented to abandon the Sri Lanka Triposha Company. An extraordinary gazette notification released recently to declare the subject matter and tasks of the ministry stresses that engaging in measures to liquidate the company would become contrary to the policies of the new government. Accordingly, the program to provide Triposha to children and expectant mothers will be carried out with more efficient and productive manner. The ministry adds that all steps to turn Sri Lanka Triposha Company into a strong and active institution will be taken expeditiously.
Commencement of vaccination of the persons between the ages of 20 and 30 years who have not yet received a single dose of the measles vaccine took place, and the program is being carried out covering 206 medical health divisions in 12 selected districts. The Ministry of Health has declared a special vaccination week on measles and rubella diseases from the 4th of this month till today. The measles vaccination campaign is being conducted in parallel to this program. The program was conducted under the special supervision of Health Secretary and Consultant Physician Palitha Mahipara. The measles vaccination program is taking place at the Thalangama Regional Hospital and also at the clinics of the Kirula Maternity Home in Colombo 5. Sri Lankan representative of the United Nations International Children's Fund, Christian Skoob, and a group of representatives of the World Health Organization were also present. Health Secretary and Consultant Physician Palitha Mahipala said a decision has been taken to conduct the measles vaccination campaign within the next 4 weeks. The objective is to inoculate children between the ages of 9 and 15 years who have not yet taken the measles vaccine. These children will be given a dose of MMR vaccine. He also said the youth between the ages of 20 and 30 years who have not yet received the measles vaccine will also be given one dose, but if they had taken the first dose, they would be given the second dose. Consultant physician Atula Lianapathirana said that Health Bureau is covering more than 500 served locations and higher education institutes from the 4th to the 8th. The vaccines have received the approval of the World Health Organization as a medicine of high quality. A measles vaccination program is also being conducted at the Medical Officer of Health Office in Pitakotte. The Morato Medical Officer of Health Office is also conducting a measles vaccination program. Medical Officers of Health Offices are conducting vaccination programs in 6 locations in the Batticaloa district.
In news regarding the weather of the country, the National Building Research Organization has issued earth slips warnings for 6 districts due to the present rainy weather condition. Now, the districts earmarked as dangerous are Badulla, Kandy, Kegol, Nuwara, Kurunegala and Ratnapura. The landslide threats in the relevant districts were issued to be effective until 4 p.m. today. The National Building Research Organization has also informed the general public to remain vigilant of incidents such as eroding of slopes, rolling down of rocks and collapsing of soil mounds, as well as sinking of earth in the event of continuous rainfall. The heavy and incessant rains lashed out on Kandy last night had paved the way to the collapse of a wall at the D.S. Senanayaka school, causing severe damages to several classrooms. Principal of the college, Anand Upatissa, says 27 more classrooms face further threats. He also says that the authorities, including the governor of the central province, have been enlightened on the situation. The torrential rainfall in Haliala yesterday has inundated many roads, including the Badulla Colombo main road. Our correspondent says several locations in the road have been subject to earth slips. The massive rainfall recorded in the Upper Mahavali catchment areas last evening has made it necessary to open 8 sluice gates of the Mahavali Dam in Polgolla. It has also been reported that a huge water capacity of 13,312 cubic feet is being released to the Victoria Reservoir in every second. Our correspondent says heavy rainfall in the Badulla and Passar areas has pushed the water level upwards in the Badulla District Disaster Management Unit informs the people affected to be careful of further developments. Meanwhile, vehicle transport has been obstructed due to the activation of an earth slip near the 100-kilometer post in the Haliala Valley Mud Road. Around 50 families were reported to have been displaced due to the floods in the Sumanatissa village in the Badulla town. Ua Province Governor Kapila Jayasekara has instructed the relevant officials to provide the necessary facilities to the victims. A group including Samantha Vidyaratna has visited the villages and inquired the needs of the victims. Excessive rainfall has caused collapse of a large soil mountain in the Valley Mada Udupusilava road, making the road totally impassable. engine in charge of the Daduroya Gayan Veerasuriya says that 6 of the 8 sluice gates of the Daduroya reservoir has remained open since dawn today. He also says that open gates are released a water flow of 16,600 cubic feet in the second to the Daduroya. Now, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake says an allowance will be provided for the children of low-income families from next school term onwards to purchase school books and equipment. Now, he made these remarks addressing a public rally in Dambulla today. The rally has been organized to consolidate the victory of the National People's Power at the upcoming general election. Massive crowds have flocked to the meeting and it was attended by candidates of the NPP representing the Matale district at the poll. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said that Tajuddin was murdered, but there were no respondents. So in the case of La Santa, nobody has yet found what happened to Eknaliguda. Anura Kumara Dissanayake says his government will look into all these mysteries. The murderers of these innocent people will be brought before justice. The Easter attack will be investigated. Nobody should become upset of these developments. The president also said public properties has been robbed in their billions of rupees. Investigations into many of these frauds have been completed. Yet there are impediments in 2 or 3 instances. These obstacles would be overcome after the general election. Further said, both politician and general public should have equal rights. Those who are in parliament who jump from one place to another will be dealt with. The parliament should be cleaned entirely from bar owners, ethanol racketeers and narcotic traders. Their place should be taken over by honest individuals. He has also challenged the former president to name 10 of the experienced politicians of his party. Then the president added they would also be able to divulge on the experiences of these 10 persons. The president added that even if several people from the different parties, they would also become newcomers. Commenting on the pathetic plight of low-income families, the president said that these families are unable to even purchase the school books of the children. Therefore, the government, considering the situation, has decided to provide an allowance to these families to purchase books and equipment for their children. The president added that the government will create a massive transformation in their power sector within the next 1.5 years. Accordingly, the power bill would be reduced by more than 30%. More plans will be initiated to create business on a rural level. A plan also will be implemented to enable the ordinary families to receive the benefits of the tourist industry. Poverty has become an obstacle to gain access to a proper meal, to gain access to education and to have a form of recreation. The NPP rule would become an administration totally eradicates rural poverty. Large crowds were also present at the NPP public rally held in Kurunegala yesterday, presided over by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said that many problems existing in the Kurunegala district. There is a huge threat from wild elephants in Galgamua, Giribava and Mikalava. A close political leadership is needed to resolve these problems. The president added that the Malimav group will be sent to address these grievances. The projects like Hatwatuna scheme, Daduroya related business programs in the Nikavaratia Magal project will remain. There will be several development plans in the Kurunegala town as well.
The Samagi Janabalawege says the party will give leadership to the signing of the new agreement in place of the present IMF pact, which burdens the general public. Leader of the party, Sajith Premadasa, had made these remarks at a public meeting in Colombo North yesterday. The purpose of the meeting was to support the candidates of the SJB contesting the Colombo district in the forthcoming general election. Leader of the Samagi Janabalawege, Sajith Premadasa, said that the Samagi Janabalawege does not play a dual political role, one at the time of the elections and another after assuming power. The party does what it says. He added that SJB is committed to extend relief to the people by staying within their policy guidelines. He added that they will take steps to give leadership in signing a new agreement in place of the current IMF agreement, which adds burden on the people.
Now, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the parliament should be handed over to a group which is able to control the finances of the country. He has made these remarks attending a lawyers' forum of the New Democratic Front in Colombo yesterday. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that several parties have come forward to compete in the election. He said that everybody should look at the cylinder symbol, and he expressed regrets over the SJB. He added that now attempts are being made to create a cardboard under Kumara Dissanayaka. He added that the country should be handed over to a team which is able to control the finance of the country.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Namal Rajapaksa says that his party would be turned as the deciding factor in the coming decade. He was speaking at a public meeting in Panadura yesterday. The meeting was organized in aid of the candidates of the SLPP contesting the Kalutara district at the upcoming poll. National organizer of the SLPP, Namal Rajapaksa, citing the Janata Vimukti Peramuna as an example, said the party had increased its fortunes from the 3% to 42%. Everybody was saying that party was unable to become victorious. Namal Rajapaksa said in similar fashion their party is also appearing on behalf of the masses and they are not a bunch of liars. Rajapaksa added that they are experiencing a difficult time, but expressed optimism of becoming the SLPP a deciding factor of the country in the coming decade. Chairman of the Drugs Regularization Authority, consultant physician Ananda Vijay Vikrama says that reports relating the threat of the closing of many pharmacies in future are false. He further says that the publication of such news without seeking their accuracy has led to deceive the general public. Chairman of the Drugs Regularization Authority, consultant physician Ananda Vijay Vikrama said that there is no change in the methodology being used in the issuance of permits to a pharmacy and the renewal of such permits. It has been pointed out that some pharmacies do not adhere to medical laws. In certain instances, pharmacy owner gains registration certificate through a financial payment.
And now it's time for your economic review.
Many reasons are attributed to the current shortage of coconuts in the country. The damages caused by monkeys, giant squirrels and several other types of animals have been pointed out in this regard. It has been estimated that around 485,000 coconut saplings are being planted new in a year in Sri Lanka. The annual coconut harvest is between 2,600 million to 3,300 million nuts. The country's annual coconut consumption is around 1,800 million nuts. 30% of the island's coconut output is being exported. The coconut cultivators say by now country does not have a coconut harvest sufficient for exporting. Even the country's consumption could not be covered through the existing stocks. As pointed out, the main factor for downfall of production is the damages caused by monkeys and giant squirrels, damages due to insects and climatic changes. It is believed that country loses nearly 100 million nuts due to the wild animal damages. This situation is widely observed in districts such as Kegol, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa. The coconut prices in today's market remain at a higher level due to inability to provide an appropriate plan to meet the ever-increasing demand in respect to the depleting supplies.
We move on into more local news now. A group of suspects have been taken into custody in connection with a financial fraud over the internet in Vallavatta. The police says that the group arrested in this connection included 59 persons who were found in a luxury apartment complex. Complaints have also been received from a foreign embassy as well as regarding the fraud. Investigations have revealed that the group had fraudulently obtained a sum of more than 300 million rupees from a Korean national. The police further says the racket has been carried out by maintaining an institute on a rented basis on the 40th floor of the apartment complex. Police media spokesman DIG Nihal Taldu said that the fraud was being carried out in an apartment rented out at a monthly cost of more than 9 million rupees. The racketeers were maintaining their con shop under the guise of a private institution. They were engaged in a fraud of accumulating funds through illegal means over the internet. Subsequent investigations have revealed that the work had been carried out through the influences of foreign countries and foreign nationals. The targets have been foreign nationals. 167 computers had been found. There were also 61 mobile phones. There were Sri Lankan nationals also engaged in the fraud.
The Election Commission requests voters to have an understanding of the model household election advertisement provided to residents before arriving at polling centres. The reason being the domestic advertisement contains relevant information pertaining to the preferential numbers of all candidates of the political parties contesting the election. The Election Commissioner has made a clarification regarding the methodology being used in casting votes at a media briefing conducted at the Election Commission today. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sriratnayaka said that the voting of the general election will take place from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on 14th of November. He further said that voters will receive a ballot paper with one column if the number of candidates are less than 20 in an electorate. However, if the number of candidates are higher than 20, the voters will receive a ballot paper with printed 2 columns. By displaying the model ballot paper, the Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sriratnayaka explained the process of voting and marking the preferential votes. He further said that voters can mark up to 3 preferential votes, and he requested voters not to mark more than 3 preferential votes. The Commissioner General of Elections said that a special touch panel will be erected at every polling booth to cater visually handicapped personnel. The Commissioner General of Elections also informed voters that they can collect their polling cards from nearest post office if they did not receive polling cards up to now. At the same time, he mentioned that polling card not essential, as voters can provide a valid document named by the Department of Elections to certify their identity at the polling station. The Election Commissioner General said that all election propaganda activities come to an end at 12 midnight on next Monday. Meanwhile, former Election Commissioner Mahinda Deshapriya has explained on several issues connected to the general election at a media briefing in Colombo today.
සමගම තමයි විශ්ව සඳහන් කළ යුතුයි. නිහඬ කාලය තුල ගේන් ගෙට ගොස් ප්‍රචාරක කටයුතු කිරීම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තහනම් වෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා සියලුම අපේක්ෂකයන් සහ අපේක්ෂකයන්ගේ පවුලේ අය ඡන්දය ආයෝජනය කිරීමේ හෝ කෙනෙකුට ඡන්දය නොදී ඉන්න කෙනා ආකාරයෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ. එම නිසා කරුණා කළා නීති විරෝධී
Popular Indian singer Kavita Krishnamurthy is scheduled to appear on Sunday Aibowan program of the national television tomorrow morning. Krishnamurthy is a veteran singer who has sung in many languages including Hindi, Bengali, Kannada, Marathi and Malayalam.
Kavita Krishnamurthy
A ceremony with the participation of Kavita Krishnamurthy and L. Subramaniam was held at the Aesthetics Arts University yesterday. The event was held in connection with naming part of the library of the university in honor of reputed violin artist Professor Lakshmi Narayan. L. Subramaniam is also well-versed violin artist and a son of Professor Narayan. Kavita Krishnamurthy became extremely famous through the singing of songs in the movie Devdas. She was felicitated with the honorary degree at the Jain University in Bangalore and also by the Padma Shri Award in 2005. She was named as the 4th highest person in India. She is participating in the national TV program tomorrow on a special request by the ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation.
බැංගලෝරයේ ජෛන විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ ආචාර්ය උපාධිය පිළිබඳ ලැබුවා. එමෙන්ම 2005 දී පද්මශ්‍රී සම්මානයෙන් පිළිබඳ ලැබූ කවිතා ඉන්දියාවේ සිල්වර පුද්ගලයා ලෙස.
We are moving for a short break and we'll bring you foreign news right after this.
And now it's time for your foreign news. At least 25 people have been killed and more than 40 wounded in a bombing at a crowded railway station in Pakistan's restive Balochistan province, according to the police. The explosion in the morning hours as nearly 100 passengers waited on a platform in the capital of Balochistan for a train to Peshawar. Senior Superintendent of the Police, Mohammed Balak, said 14 army soldiers were among the dead. The toll, also including 5 civilians and 6 railway employees. Pakistan's largest and poorest province, resource-rich Balochistan, is home to separatist armed groups and has been a frequent target of deadly attacks. The province borders Afghanistan and Iran. The Balochistan Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the attack, saying in a statement that a suicide bomber targeted troops present at the railway station. The outlawed the Balochistan Liberation Army has long waged an armed rebellion seeking independence from Islamabad. It is the biggest of several ethnic rebels groups battling the government.
And in sports news, we do have cricket updates for you, as the first T20 match of the current series between Sri Lanka and New Zealand is now being played at the Dambulla International Cricket Stadium. The New Zealand team scored 135 at their first innings, and Sri Lanka is currently 55 for the loss of 3 wickets. The New Zealand team, after winning the toss, has decided to open the innings. Tim Robinson and Will Young have maintained a 16-run partnership for the first wicket. Tim Robinson was out for 3 runs. Mark Chapman also dismissed for 1 run, and Will Young was able to collect 19 runs. The first 3 wickets of the New Zealand team fell within 31 runs.
And in one more sports news item, the Sri Lankan team participating in the 6th World Cup Carom tournament to be held in California in the US has left the island yesterday. Prior to their departure, they were engaged in religious observances. The tournament will be conducted from the 11th to the 17th of this month, and it is comprised of several competitions from the 11th to the 17th. The forms are singles, doubles and league tournaments. The Sri Lankan men's team had been successful in winning the championship trophy in the men's team category at the last World Cup Carom tournament held in Korea. The Sri Lankan women's team were the runners-up in the event. The Sri Lanka women's team at the forthcoming tournament will be headed by Joseph Roshika, and the men's team captained by Shahid Hilmi. Well, that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira together with Nathalaya Weerawardena. Wish you a pleasant evening. Take care.
Good night.